So we are still trying to figure out what the details are in the reduction. I mean, the airlines have said that they haven't really heard much about the details, and the details aren't yet public. But we do know from our airline sources that the reductions will sort of come in at about 4% initially on Friday, and they will sort of build up to 10% over the coming week. And we also know that the cuts will be between 6 a.m. and 10 p.m., but we still don't know in terms of where those cuts will be. I mean, the administration's talked about 40 airports, but they haven't actually said which of those airports will be affected. And we also haven't yet, we've seen the airlines talking about how they will cut regional flights mainly, and the hub-to-hub traffic and international flights will not be affected. So United Airlines has talked about that, and American Airlines have talked about that. But we haven't actually seen what routes will be cut and which of the which areas will be most affected.
Has this happened before? Do we know what we're doing here?
It's uncharted territory. I mean, we haven't really seen. We've seen some reductions in Newark, for instance, when we saw that over the past year that there were air traffic restrictions and air traffic controller shortages, but across the board, we haven't really seen this sort of situation before.
It sounds like the airlines will be the ones making the decisions on which flights to cut. Is that right? Or
that's correct.
Okay, but do they decide which airports are most affected, or is that something that they are informed of?
So we understand that it will be sort of the FAA dictating that these are the airports that will see reductions, and then airlines will have to consequently adjust their schedules to decide which flights they should keep and which flights they should consolidate in order to keep their operations running smoothly.
I don't even know where to go here, but it seems like I'm just thinking of my airport in Newark. Well, you put some reductions on there, that will impact United more than, say, American or Delta. So if I'm an airline, I want to make sure these are, I guess, evenly allocated amongst the airlines and their hubs, but we have no real knowledge if that's going to be the case.
We don't know exactly how much the proportion of each airport's restrictions will be. So essentially, we don't know which airport is going to see more or less frequency reduction. But if you're flying hub to hub on United has said that they aren't going to cut their flights. And similarly for international flights, they have said that they haven't going to cut flights. So there's some certainty, but at the same time, people are going to find out pretty last minute, actually, especially if you're flying tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay. So you mentioned international flights will not be as affected. This is a really dumb question, but why are we prioritizing international flights? They just make more money for the airlines?
The FAA the DOT and FAA didn't really explain the rationale for why they aren't cutting international flights. Presumably because international flights have only one sort of entry point into the US versus domestic flights that have sort of fly from an airport in the US. Yeah, exactly.
Is this going to do anything? Is this going to help, do you think?
The government says that this will allow them to sort of...
I'm asking the expert. I could care less what the government says.
We don't know yet. I mean, they are saying that this is necessary for safety, and they're saying that air traffic control... I mean, we are seeing instances of air traffic controllers calling in sick, and as a result of it, we've seen airports having to sort of announce ground stops or delays, and we've seen traffic backed up into major hubs like Newark. We've seen hubs like LaGuardia backed up. We've seen hubs like DCA being backed up. So there is an issue at the moment, especially with air traffic controllers haven't been paid for over a month now.
So that's a key thing. When they call in sick, I mean, I think some people might say, come on, get it together, go to work. This is what adults do. But it's more than that, because if you haven't gotten paid and you're living paycheck by paycheck, then you can't afford childcare and you might need to look for a second job. I mean, that's kind of the big picture here, right?
That is. I mean, that's what the DOT has said as well, that essentially air traffic controllers, their first missed paycheck is something that they can sort of deal with. But the second missed paycheck is when things start getting dicey. And essentially, people have to either opt for second jobs or look for other work that they can do temporarily to get paid. And that's really having an impact on staffing and air traffic control towers across the country.
And even before the shutdown, the air traffic control system was under tremendous stress, understaffed by a material amount, is my understanding. It seems like an easy fix is you got to pay these people more to attract more people. Why doesn't the industry do that?
The government is in the midst of modernizing the airspace. They're talking about how they've hired more controllers, but at the same time, the hiring of new controllers will also be affected by these shutdowns. So
Right.
it's sort of a
Round and
chicken
round
egg.
we go, Paul
Yes,
Sweeney.
exactly.